where the president had his State of the Union. Guess it was the longest State of the Union ever. And so it was pretty long. We're going to focus on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, because that's what we do on this channel, is help you make sure you're getting everything you're eligible for, everything you paid for into Social Security, Medicare. So we're not going to focus on the other hour and 40 minutes or whatever it is. We're just going to focus on specifically Social Security. And he made history by being another president, the same type of president for the past 40 years who has talked about protecting Social Security, but hasn't actually accomplished anything. Current administration doesn't have any plans to save Social Security. They just said we're going to save Social Security. There's been other presidents, other leaders, other political leaders that said, okay, yeah, we're going to save Social Security and here's our plan. And other presidents said we're going to save Social Security and that was it. And you know what's for what? What's for lunch? That's essentially what has happened. If you can find a plan that the current administration has to save Social Security, please let Michelle know. 1. There's thousands of plans out there, but tell Michelle one that he has actually decided to start implementing. There is a talk about like a 401k TSP. It's called Thrift Savings Plan, that government employees have, including military members, have Thrift Savings Plan, basically a 401k. Mentioned that, but that's not Social Security, that's not Medicare. And there's estimates going out there that these benefits, and this is crucial because if you're new to Michelle's channel, you or someone you know is receiving Social Security benefits. They are going to be cut in another 83 months by 23%. There is another report that just came out basically the same time to say the State of the Union says that actually the administration, what they're doing is actually making everything worse. It's not doing anything, it's just kicking the can down the road. And inevitably everybody's going to get their benefits cut. But the argument says actually because of the one big beautiful bill, then it's actually getting worse. There's that $6,000, $12,000 deduction, tax deduction, has nothing to do with Social Security. It's a senior tax deduction that's going to be reducing money coming into the Social Security Administration. There's a big cut to the Part A, Medicare Part A. If you're turning 65, you're on disability after 24 months, you get Part A for free. 99% of people get Part A for free. But it's not free because you pay for it all your life out of FICA taxes. When you pay wages or net income from business, then you pay 6.2%. Your employer pays 6.2% for Social Security. You pay another 1.45% for Medicare. So that's how Part A is essentially funded. But because of the cuts to the one big beautiful bill, the tax cuts for the high wage earners and a little bit for the rest of us, then they're saying that the trust fund for Part A is going to come empty 12 years earlier. So the current administration is hurting Medicare considerably. He also tacked on the end, said, I'm going to save Social Security. I'm going to protect Social Security. I'm going to protect Medicare and Medicaid. The Medicaid thing, as we all know, is 100% incorrect because the one big beautiful bill cuts about $700 billion out of the Medicaid budget. And people say, well, that's just, they're just kicking off undocumented immigrants. No, undocumented immigrants do not get federally funded Medicaid. State might give them state health care, but not with federal money. And the whole thing about 29, the 26-year-old gamer sitting in, the parents' basement or something like that. Okay, few $billion, but what about the other 90% of that $700 billion? That's going to be hurting regular people that are receiving Medicaid, going to reduce people's Medicaid. We've already seen this. They're kicking people off Medicaid. They're kicking people that are eligible off Medicaid by cutting back on the ability for people to get that help. So that's one of the things that we do in our channel. If you're new to our channel, that's what we do. We have a community throughout the country that looks after each other, brings in information, says, hey, in this particular state, this is what's happening. This is how you get around the Social Security policies to make sure you get your money, all the changes, the phone, the AI, and all the rest of it. We already have. The first one out of the gate is a success story. That's someone that we were able, not Michelle. It's Michelle just makes the videos. Y'all go out there and share these videos. But someone shared a video with this young lady and she was out being able. She was able to go out there and get some more money, so let's listen to her story here. Just want to let you know that I love your channel. I got some really great information. I ended up filing for the widow benefits and I was approved and my big check's coming in the mail. And my regular monthly Social Security disability is switching over to survivors. And I'll be getting more money on there too. Thank you very much for all your information. Thank you so much for your channel. Love you. Okay, love our community out there. Y'all did this. So this was 100% y'all. Okay. 1% Michelle's information, but anyway, y'all got it out there. So what she was talking about is she had made a video a couple of weeks ago, and she was talking about Social Security disability insurance, and she was receiving that wasn't a whole heck of a lot. So Social Security disability insurance is based on your own record, how much you actually paid into Social Security. So she was receiving that fine, but it looks as though Social Security dropped the ball and should have investigated whether she's eligible for DWIB. And what is DWIB? DWIB, Disabled Widows Benefits. That's where you can get disability benefits on another person's record. There's only a few places you can get a few times you can get disability benefits on another person's record, and that's one of them. The other one is if what you called a DAC, a disabled adult child, a child that's become disabled can get disability benefits off of a parent's record. Okay, but for her particular case, DWIB. So a DWIB benefit is you can get between the age of 50 and 59. Regular survivor benefits you have to wait till 60. But a DWIB, disabled widow benefits, you can get it from 50 to 59, and you have to be disabled. And she was receiving SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance. So Social Security already determined she was disabled. She had the disability had to start within 7 years of the passing of that disabled spouse. And so it sounds like everything worked out perfectly. The only problem is hopefully she got all her back pay if she missed those months because Social Security didn't do the right thing and didn't tell her about that. Again, because these politicians are actually not protecting Social Security. Michelle thinks our community is actually protecting Social Security more than, all these politicians that say they are. Because look, we just found this lady's money that she had eligible, and she wasn't able to get it, and it was us that protected her Social Security. So thank you, team, for doing that. So whoever pushed the button to subscribe or like or share the video, share our channel, and she was able to see it, it was 100% your accomplishment. So congratulations, whoever pushed the button. Thank you. Hi, Dr. Michelle, I have a question. In January, I received a small inheritance of $1,199.34. I'm on SSI. I'm 66. Anyway, they told me that for the month of January, it would be considered an overpayment. And they kind of messed it up, so it's not started yet, but they're supposed to be sending me paperwork. The lady called me who supposedly sounded like she specialized with SSI clients, and she told me I owed the total amount of $827.25. However, she said that it would be $102.52 a month for 9 months. That comes out to 10%. On your website, it says I should be paying 50%, which I could pay 50% if I have nowhere to live and I'm out on a street. So I need to know what's going on. Is she correct or not? This is what she told me because I wrote it all down. Thank you. Okay, yeah, all right, so we'll start with the last one first. The 10% versus 50%. Yes. On Michelle's website, it says 50%, and what she means on Michelle's website, for those people new joining us, it's mygovexpert.com. And you can go on there, and there's a bunch of information on Social Security benefits, retirement benefits, disability benefits, all the rest of it. But in terms of overpayment, so you click on the little overpayment thing, and it says, 50%. They changed it to Doge. When they came in, it was 10%, and Doge said 100%. And then no, you can't withhold everybody's check until they, so they switched it to 50%. But that's for Title II. What is Title II? Title II of the Social Security Act. That's what Michelle did before Michelle became a manager. Title II is retirement benefits, Medicare surviving spouse benefits, SSDI spouse benefits. Title 16 is what this young lady is receiving. SSI. It's a welfare-based benefit. And that's completely different laws and regulations and policy. It's not even technically Social Security. It's administered by Social Security. It comes out of the general welfare, or it doesn't come out of the general, it doesn't come out of the trust fund, retirement trust fund. So, and that's why when it's always difficult when Michelle does these live Q&As that people ask, they said, I'm on SSI, and Michelle's like, okay, are you really on SSI or are you on Social Security? Are you on welfare or are you on Social Security? SSI is completely different. But anyway, all right, so for SSI it's 10%. The max they can hold is 10%. If you're having difficulty with that $100 or so, then you can ask them, says, yes, I understand 10%. That's the kind of the default rate they can withhold an overpayment. But I can't live on that. All right, so the reason was the overpayment because it is SSI. It's a welfare-based program. Anytime you get any money, that just might offset it. But you obviously receive some money, but yeah, they should have investigated a little bit deeper. So if you got that money and Social Security has what's called a spend down that you can do, it's basically say, yeah, I got this money, but I had some debts I had to pay off. I've had to buy a heater because it's cold as heck out there. I need to buy an air conditioner for the winter. My car is broke or something like that. If you spend it down almost immediately, then they usually don't hold that against you. So Michelle would reach out to them and say, hey, here's the deal. Here's, yeah, I got that money, but here's what happened to it, and try to get that kind of negated. And at the very least, negotiate a little bit with that overpayment. 10% yes is the standard, but you can definitely get less than that.